Ahead will be hot or cold for investors. A different sort of analyst is predicting whether it will be spicy or sweet. Joining us now is McCormick Chairman and CEO Alan Wilson. He's here to give us the company's annual flavor forecast. Also with us, John Steinberg, President and COO of BuzzFeed. We'll get to him in a moment. I mean, if anybody should know what flavors are going to work next year with a turnover of $4 billion a year, you should be able to do that. Before we get to the big reveal, you actually forecast that Chipotle would be as big as it was.
About 10 years ago. We've done the flavor forecast since year 2000.
Right.
And so what we do is we mine data, we talk to chefs, we talk to our customers in our industrial business, and we try to identify the flavor trends that are developing over the next couple of years. And so we identified Chipotle as one that would become popular. And now you find it in sandwich sauces. You have a restaurant chain named for it. It's really been one that we nailed.
So what's the big one for 2014?
As we're looking ahead, we see Bahian spice from Brazil as one that people are going to start to discover. Our flavor forecast talks about things like Indian spices, biryanis. And we're launching products to be able to take those Mexican products and different chilies as we're going forward with that, and also a trend to compact cooking, which is people, because of the urbanization around the world, people are living in smaller spaces, so they need things that are more compact. So they're using things like slow cookers, coffee presses to infuse flavors into broths, that kind of thing.
It's fascinating. I mean, chilies is the big thing. Chilies, grilling, smoking, pickling, fermenting and candying, I think is what you're saying. Apart from that, it's interesting how different parts of the world catch on at different rates to different types of cuisine, which is what lies at the heart of what you're saying. There's very few Indian restaurants here in the United States, despite a huge Indian diaspora. And conversely, there's very little Mexican food in Europe. And what you guys are doing, I guess, is kind of arbitraging around the world.
And we're finding that a lot of those flavors are really, really similar. We're also celebrating our 125th anniversary this year, so we're kicking off a big celebration of that. And we're looking forward and we're looking back. And what we're trying to do is capture 1.25 million flavor stories, because flavor really brings people together.
Now it's sounding like an advert. I was going to ask you how you stay relevant at 125 years old. Perhaps you could explain the relationship you have with BuzzFeed, which is kind of emblematic.
Sure. We're trying to reach consumers wherever consumers are. And with John's company's BuzzFeed, we ran a campaign on grilling this past year.
And this was all about new flavors that you have to try, to imagine, to believe, and you should experiment with. And in each of these recipes, we've shown what McCormick spices you can use to make a mango shrimp that's on the grill, because grilling is the type of cooking that appeals to lots of young people. Our audience is largely 18 to 34, so this is a whole way of making McCormick relevant to a young audience. We know our audience loves to cook because they're on a fixed budget in most cases, so this has been highly successful for them.
I have two questions. Has sriracha jumped the shark yet?
No.
And are these new spices harder to source, more expensive to source?
Not necessarily more expensive. They may not have the scale, so they aren't necessarily as available. And that's part of what we try to do, is make things that are a little more exotic, more approachable for consumers in their homes.
Yeah, but things you can dependably source.
That's right.
For a decent
That's right.
price. Sriracha? What's the verdict on sriracha?
Sriracha is a trend that's developed and has become very popular. It's moving from across the coast. We find the same thing with our Thai products, our Thai Kitchen and Simply Asia products that fit the same demographic. It tends to start, in that case, on the West Coast and move more east.
Lunch is just too far away at this stage. Alan, thank you for coming in. Alan Wilson there, joining us from McCormick. Thank you, John, as well.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
When we come back, this street corner right across the river from New York City is not